First, let us all take a moment of silence, honoring the memory of all the people who lost their lives in the Holocaust. Everyone, please think about this. If we held 1 minute of silence for every victim of the Holocaust, then we would be silent for 11.5 years. Good afternoon, and thank you, Harry, my love, for the kind introduction. I would like to recognize the presence of Ambassador David Roth, Permanent Representative of Israel at the UN, United Nations, who is joining us here today. I'm so happy to see Elizabeth Schneier today, representing her husband, Rabbi Arthur Schneier of Park's Synagogue. I'm also very, very pleased to see my rabbi, Rabbi Raphael Ben Shimol, from Manhattan Sephardic Synagogue. Him and his wife are here with us as well. It is so overwhelming and gratifying to see so many familiar faces. Thank you, friends, family, work colleagues from New York Hospital, and my NYU professor for being here today. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Lenny Wilf, Chairman of the American Society for Yad Vashem, for nominating me to receive this honor. After several attempts, he finally caught me. I'm humbled. I'm here to accept this honor for a few people. For my incredible in-laws, Julia and Izzy Carton, may God bless their memories. For my dear sisters-in-law, Bernie Buchhammer and Marsha Toledano, and for my loving husband, Harry, whose endless support I cherish, and above all, for my 3 sons, Jonathan, Sharon, and Izzy, to whom we are here passing on this legacy today. So, how did I, an Israeli woman of Sephardic background, end up standing here? You may ask, and rightfully so. Yad Vashem and the Shoah were part of my childhood education in Israel. There is one particularly vivid memory I would like to share with you. My class visit of the Children's Memorial to Yad Vashem. I stood consumed by this dark hall, the echoes of the children's names, one name after another, the glimmer of the lights that represented 1.5 million of innocent child victims. I will never forget my teacher telling us that it would take over 6 years to say all of those children's names. Another strong memory comes from a story my grandma Simi told me about Grandpa Rabbi Moshe and Sheikh Yosef, her father. They, along with the other community leaders, were taken by Nazis from their homes, Ulad Nagia, in a small village near Marrakesh, Morocco. The Nazis planned to leave the sheep without their shepherds. Back in the village, the community sensed trouble, fear, and loss. Luckily, the end of the war came a month later, and they were all released alive. The Holocaust reached far and wide. The Shoah did not discriminate. Jews were killed. If you were Reformed or Orthodox, Sephardic or Ashkenaz, these and many other stories are taught and stored at Yad Vashem. My true relationship with Yad Vashem began when I married Harry and became a Carton. That is when I also married Yad Vashem. In fact, the first time I introduced my husband to my parents was when he gave a speech at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. At that event, he introduced them to Yosef Berg, a member of a religious party in the Knesset, which impressed my Orthodox parents tremendously. With their blessing, Harry promised that within 1 year we will be either married or not. Well, 11 months and 20 days later, they came to New York to celebrate our wedding. During the first few years of my marriage, I was fortunate enough to hear the heroic survival story of my mother-in-law, Julia Grossberg-Carten, Zichronah Livracha. When the war started, she was only 16. Her father, Moshe, felt the threat of the Nazis and asked his wife, Berta, to sew the family gold coins into the hems of their coats. This, in case they were split apart. Julia was a beautiful girl with a blonde and blue eyes and could easily pass as a Polish girl. And so, it was clear that Julia was the one to be sent out on missions to find food. One day, Julia returned to discover that her mother Berta had been murdered and that her father Moshe and sister Rose had been taken to Belzec extermination camp, an aktia aimed at the one and only Jewish family in her village of Milatesh. Thankfully, Julia had the presence of mind to quickly wrap the family gold coins into the handkerchiefs and tie it into her wrist. It was with these gold coins that she paid farmers to hide her. Since Julia posed too much of a threat to the farmers, who could not help her any longer, she was forced to turn herself into the Berberka ghetto. Here she met Izzy, who offered her shelter in the woods, where they got married and spent 3 harsh winters, together with Izzy's 3 brothers and the rest of their partisans. You may read Isidore's memoir in the book that Yad Vashem published, Survival in the Forest. The Schwerz camps, the story of 4 Carten brothers who were able to help save over 400 lives who otherwise may have died in the ghettos or the concentration camps. There are 2 people in the audience here today that were hidden by the curtains. Would you please stand? Family was sent to Belzec at the same time as Julia's family. After liberation, the survivors needed to cope with their losses. Sadly, there were no cemeteries, nor any graves to visit. Therefore, Izzy and Julia joined the American Society for Yad Vashem as a benefactress. It was decided that the first major project was to build Valley of the Lost Communities, a huge monument dug out of natural bedrock at Yad Vashem on Mount Herzl in Jerusalem. This project symbolized a large gravesite, and it is a monument of 5,000 lost European communities whose names including Izzy's village of Schwerz and Julia's village of Milatesh. In 1947, Izzy and Julia immigrated to the United States, where Izzy established himself as an entrepreneur doing businesses in over 50 countries and shared his success in many philanthropic efforts. In 2003, the Carten family children created the partisan panorama at Yad Vashem in a memory of their parents. Bernie, Marsha, and Harry erected a large memorial ground with a beautiful sculpture of the Tree of Life, representing 3 generations of endurance, the panorama overlooking the Jerusalem forest and the Valley of the Lost Communities, symbolic of the lives the partisans lived in the woods outside of the ghettos. It is the testament to Julia and Izzy's bravery and the courage in the face of the horrors of the Holocaust. Here is a lasting legacy of themselves and for the future generations. Harry and I intended to continue our Holocaust education efforts through social media, teaching young people via YouTube. We produced 2 documentaries. First, The Price of Peace, the story of Sharon Edry, the story of my brother. Sharon, the youngest of 7 children. My mother used to call him Yom HaShabbat Sheli. the seventh child, who was an IDF soldier kidnapped by Hamas terrorists and subsequently murdered. 7 months later, Sharon's remains were found into 2 burial sites. Among them were his kippah and his watch, the part of his kippah that was clenched in his hand at the time of the murder retained the original colors. A silent witness to his strong faith, my brother paid the ultimate price for defending the Jewish state of Israel, a state built on the ashes of European Jewry. Sharon, I want you to know that our middle son, Sharon Carton, carries your name, and our youngest son, Isidore Carton, is named after my partisan father-in-law, who passed away on the Israeli Soldiers' Memorial Day. In our home, we remember the 2 of you on the same day. We always will. Each of our boys were privileged to celebrate their bar mitzvah in the synagogue of Yad Vashem, where they celebrated and danced with the Torah rescued from the Holocaust. Each was twinned the young child victim of the Holocaust who did not live to celebrate his 13th birthday. Now, each of our sons is considering joining the Israeli Defense Force to follow the heroic influence of the uncle they never met. The second documentary is called Survival in the Forest, Isidore Carton and the Partisans. In 1992, Harry took a road trip to Poland with his father to find the bunker that he and Julia hid in. A second trip included me and 4 child survivors and their spouses. 2 of them are here today with us in this room. Finally, Harry took his 3rd trip to Poland, joined by our boys Izzy and Jonathan, as well as a film crew. It was this time that they traced and recorded the story of their grandpa and the partisans. The legacy left to us by Izzy and Julia is the core of our family values. The story of our family has been told and well absorbed by the 2nd and 3rd generations. 4 Carton brothers survived. We have 30 descendants. It is said that the story of the Carton family is not unique. Each of you, honored survivors, have your own story to tell. Would all survivors please stand up and allow us to applaud you? Will all the 2nd and 3rd generation of Holocaust survivors please join and stand with them? This, my friends, represents the revenge we took on Hitler. Let's applaud all of them. We are all here for one cause. Our shared history must be kept alive through education and commemoration. Our families must continue to grow, as does our support for Yad Vashem. Dor vador, Am Yisrael Chai.